Watch films, watch cinema, analyze them. Analyze the films, and then start filmmaking. I became involved with AFS 2 years ago, so this was just a great way for me to get back into training here and really work with what I consider to be a really good incubator. It's the first time that I've felt in the last 5 years that there was a groundswell, that there's a group of emerging filmmakers that are working together and developing themselves and developing each other. We have participants from 5 years ago that are now editing the AFS films that are being developed this year, and some from last year, or they're working as directors of photography for them. So it's a community. It's finally an emerging community of filmmakers, and I feel that AFS is really driving that forward. So it's great to see. I would say anticipation is probably one of the most valuable skills you can have. Anticipating what needs to get done before you have to be told it's going to be done. If you're on crew, or even if you're a PA or you're working in any part of the film industry, if you can anticipate what's going to go wrong or what could go right or what needs to be done, people will value you and they'll ask you back because you're thinking ahead and you're seeing things before you have to be told. If they don't have to tell you to do something and you're doing it, that's great. They'll want you on crew, they'll want you on set, they'll want you to be there. And that includes everybody across the board in the production process. I think a good short film needs to have a strong character who has to overcome some sort of challenge in order to get what they want. And that's a simple statement to make, but if you look at Charlie Chaplin, if you look at all of the great longer films, but Chaplin did shorts, and Chaplin, you can take some of the short areas of his longer films and go, okay, there's a story. Here's the character, here's what they need to do, here's what they want, here's what's in their way, and this is what they have to do to get to it. That's a great storyline for anything, and I know it's formulaic, and everybody will, you can go back to the Odyssey and lots of old books and stories to say, yes, it's a challenge, someone has to get there, but the audience has to connect with the character. Watch films, watch cinema, analyze them. Watch old films, watch new films, watch classic films, watch short films. Short of the Week is a great website. Boy, you can get so many great ideas there and see how techniques that are being used, that have been used in the past, but are being reused clever ways. I would say if you're really interested in films, watch Short of the Week, analyze the films, and then start filmmaking. And it's not hard anymore. You can do it on your phone. There's all sorts of free tools for editing out there. So it doesn't take a lot to actually start filmmaking. And remember, if you look at Chaplin and if you look at some of the older films, they didn't have a lot of camera movement. They didn't have a lot of close-ups sometimes, but they had really good characters and they were doing really interesting things. And it worked. People understood the story, and you need to be able to tell a story. I'm hoping that the participants with AFS come away with a higher sense of professionalism, that they understand the steps and stages they need to go through in order for them to get funding, and the only way you're going to get funding is if someone has confidence in you professionally. So the templates that we use in order for us to give them the green light to go ahead, for us to release the funding, is the same thing that they're going to go through for any project, whether it's a TVC, a commercial, whether it's a corporate video, whether it's something they're doing online or a small series or whatever. If they're looking for funding, they're going to have to be able to convince the people with the money that they've got a really good idea and that they've thought of everything in terms of cost, logistics, execution, producing, post-production, everything that has to come into it. So if they can do that for us, they can use that template and do it for anyone. And to me, that just elevates them up to a higher level where they can get trust from the rest of the industry. And that goes back to even getting crew together. If you have a really good idea and your story is set and you believe in it, and everyone talks about the 2-minute or less than that elevator, the 30-second elevator pitch, etc. If you can convince your crew, you'll get them on board for a lot less money because they want to be part of building that story. If you can't give them a good story, they're not going to say, oh, I want to be part of that. They're going to go, really? That's the story? I don't know if I really want to be involved in it. So we're hoping that they understand they need to get to a certain level professionally before they can move on. With those skills and with those templates and those things, we hope that they can then take them further on and develop themselves professionally.